bring up in the show. I was gonna try to go ahead and post this video playing a game, and I'm having the game. The game is absolutely perfect, but it just has random little glitches in it. So,
something you're going to talk about?
Yeah. And I was hoping the video capture was ready because I captured a piece of it, and I've just got this little loading up there in the corner.
Oh,
yeah.
And it's spinning and spinning.
I saw you playing that. Was that on Steam or PlayStation? I think it was on PlayStation. I saw you on there.
PlayStation. I got a wild hair. I got a wild hair. I was running late. Literally, the people that I live with can't get their shit together sometimes, and we were like an hour late.
Oh my god!
To Thanksgiving.
An hour. That's tough. Did you have to take stuff?
Yeah, but just like a side dish and some pies. So it wasn't that serious, but
yeah.
When your kid is like, "Oh, I don't have any pants, and I'm gonna throw my wash in now," and then it's time to leave,
man.
and they're
I live this life. I know exactly how this goes.
Just getting put in the dryer, and it's like, what the fuck? And then an hour later, the shit's come out of the dryer, but the jeans that they need to wear still aren't like fully dry. It's like, just put them on. Just put them on. Like at this point, we gotta go.
You've had all this time to know you're gonna need pants for this exact event. Most of this break, you're not gonna need pants. You're good. You can bum around in shorts or your boxers or whatever. This thing we're going to, you need some pants.
But and I had put my phone on the charger, and we left, and we were leaving the neighborhood, and my watch kind of buzzes. And I look down at it. I'm like, the fuck? I don't have a notification. Why is this buzzing? And we get halfway to my dad's house. Now he lives only like 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
But we get halfway to his house, and I realize, I'm like, oh shit, my phone's still on the charger at home.
Oh.
And
so now you're part of the problem.
Yeah. She's like, do we need to go back? I'm like, no, we're going there. If I really want it, I'll turn around and get it. If not, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I had the portal. So
the portal, but not your phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
The portal was in a case. I knew it was charged. I put it in its case. It was sitting by the door. And the phone was in here on the fast charger, so I just was like, I hadn't thought about that. It's usually in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Just completely forgot. So didn't my portal occupied me the most of my time while I was over there.
That's good.
But we'll talk about that a little later on.
Mine's fired up, updated. Games acquired have been installed for the missus. And she has yet to partake in her games acquired.
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing when I play this thing? You're connected to the PS5 downstairs. Okay, what's on there? Where do I put the game in? I was like, no, it's connected to the PS5. We just have to make sure what you want to play is either the disc is in the system, or we have the digital for it. So, which is the problem I usually run into. I think my biggest mistake is Helldivers. I should have bought Helldivers. Digital.
Helldivers, I went ahead and bought digital, considering it's
next time it goes on sale. I'm just gonna. Is it on sale now? Is it like 25% off?
Ooh, I think it was.
Next time it does, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and just have it on there, because it's like every time Russell wants to play it up or queue it up, I'm like, man, I could play on the portal because it worked pretty well with Cesar doing it. Wish list that damn thing. Come on, glucose. Stock market. Live corrections with Brant McKee. SR, we could be streaming this. Your favorite holiday tradition?
Yeah, Russell was trying to get me to play that earlier with him and Robbie. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Online?
Yeah.
So it has This is the disc-based version via PlayStation Direct.
It's
Is
30.
29.
Yeah, I
so
think it's 30
would
at Walmart also.
I would assume that the digital copy is also discounted. For PC, it's only 39 as well.
I think I paid less than that. Like when we were going to head on vacation, I think it dropped like, I don't know if it's Humble Bundle or somebody, but somebody had it pretty cheap, and that's when I picked up that Steam copy. It plays pretty well on deck. It's like a PS3 version of Helldivers, but it's awesome. It's actually very impressive. Save now. Top games in your country. I want that Soul Reaver double pack, but I'll never win. My most bid on game on eBay is Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 2 for PS2. I will never win that game. I just lost one like 20 minutes ago.
It's not a
really.
I will never win that game.
Soul Reaver. It's not super cheap, but it's $31.99 right now.
Yeah, which is what, $8-9 off. That's not horrible.
Off. Yeah.
Maybe I'll bite the bullet. We play it enough, right? On and off.
My most played game of the year, next to Warzone.
You got a bunch of hours in there. I was looking at that.
250 or something like that. Not as much as Russell, which is like almost 400.
I mean, it's a dedicated PS5 machine for him. Was he playing Warzone on PS5 or Xbox?
PS5.
So he's played another game besides Warzone on PS5. Besides Helldivers. That's what I was touching on. He has done it.
Yeah.
As a side note, Jeff Gersman has played The Legend of Zelda for his NES series and his Rank the NES games. He really enjoyed.
What did he rank them?
Legend of Zelda. You want the spoilers? Legend of Zelda is his new number 4. He went back and forth. Rygar. He fucking loves Rygar. And he said, objectively for science, Legend of Zelda is a better game than Rygar. But not as good as Super Mario Brothers. So the current top 5 is Mega Man 2, Bionic Commando, Super Mario Brothers, The Legend of Zelda, and Rygar. He's ranked... This was the 69th episode, too.
Nice.
He's ranked 422 NES games for science. The worst game is Raid 2020, which I've never heard of. But it's Was that?
I stopped watching after the Infiltrator. That was enough for me.
Ooh. Where did Infiltrator end up? I don't remember.
Like 400s. It was something.
It's in the 400s?
I think so.
I think he liked parts of Infiltrator. Master Chu and the Drunkard Who. Wally Bear and the No Gang. Wall Street Kid. So I feel like you would have had Wall Street Kid.
No, I didn't.
Mappy Land? Is that like a platforming Mappy?
Yeah, I've had Mappy Land. It's just I think it's just a port of the arcade game.
It's a Tosei game. Yeah, I'll find your Infiltrator. That fucking game. I was like, that. It's not on my wall. It's not on my picture I have, but that game looks pretty fucking familiar. And I had bought it a couple of months ago when I was on my NES kick.
Love me some Infiltrator.
I need to watch you play it so I can actually understand what's happening.
I don't think I understand what was happening when I played that game. I just remember how wild it was.
You had nothing else. You just wandered around until you could wander into stuff.
I don't know how we got it. I don't know if it was a friend's house or a family member's house, but I remember playing it.
Yeah.
It resonated with me because of how unique it was. Like
it's different.
What was the other one like the other one I told you? Was it North and South? Was the other one that I still remember to this day because I played that.
So crazy.
And
was that a strategy game? I'm assuming.
Yeah. I got all super into it.
One would think North and South would be a strategy game. I think that's an expensive game now. Was that one that was one of yours? Like, did you own that one?
No, I think I rented it or something like that.
I'm just curious real quick. We'll get to the actual show. So we can play something. I just type in North and it's immediately North and South NES. Yeah, it's $50 for just a cartridge. I'm pretty sure I don't have that one. Those horses are so intense. They look so mad at each other.
I don't know how that happened or how I ended up playing that, but that was the thing.
And you jammed on some North and South?
Mm-hmm.
pull up Chrome so we're ready to rock. All right, you guys good?
Google Chrome.
Google Chrome. Not eBay. Keep pulling up eBay. Let's do this thing.
Y'all find any decent Black Friday deals?
Yeah, same old same.
Might kick that around in Games Acquired because I found a couple things that I just all shipped to me. I didn't get out and do anything like we used to back in the day.
Yeah.
The missus got out, but she said it wasn't like crazy or anything, so I think those days are over. Just like midnight releases. It's just not a thing anymore.
I saw that whole buy two, get one from GameStop.
I'm tempted by this as well.
Especially by the retro stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Started looking. And
online, right?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, well there's a couple things here that aren't too maybe I'll add this to the cart or something. Go to add something to the cart and it's like verify your address. I'm like, what the fuck would I okay, whatever,
Step
maybe
two.
for shipping purchases.
Yeah.
Like before it even says like add to cart or anything at the bottom. It was like verify your address. So I go to I hit it, have my address, and then it goes item not available in your area. I'm like, what the fuck? Like y'all are this big ass company, fucking ship it to me. And the only options that they have there are pick up in store or same day ship.
Which is where they send like Grubhub or somebody by the store, right, to pick it up. Yeah.
And then the other option just for like ship to home is grayed out. And so I'm like,
you have to spend a certain amount. Remember they hit that like $60 threshold or something a couple of years ago.
I don't know.
You have to hit that and then it activates somehow. But
I'm not sure. I mean, as soon as I tried to add the one thing, and I was looking at so many games, and then I started thinking about like, I'm not probably not going to get the case with this. This is no telling what the condition's going to be. I'm like, you know what? And then that happened. I'm like, man, fuck you, games.
They make it impossible to even like them. I want to go in there just to see like PS3 stuff. Like I'm gonna look in store for the buy two get one type stuff. You got to have the book, you got to have the case, and then I'll know I can pick from those. But it is buy two get one. I guess the rest of the week.
Yeah, I think it's any of the pre-owned.
You still need to hit that retro store. That one's not super far from you, right? Close-ish. It's probably equidistant for all three of us, as a matter of fact.
From everything I saw, it seems like if you go into the store, it's literally just a regular GameStop, and then they have, just like they used to.
Yeah.
Like they have that little case with, that used to have, 3DS games or DS game, and now it's just they have a case in there that might have, oh, here's a PS2 game or an N64 game or whatever. And
the ones I've been to, they've been putting like 360 games in the bottom of the Xbox One section and PS3 games in the bottom of the PS4 section, which they're so sparse on representation of like current generation that it's pretty much like 30% of the stock is what you'll see like PS3 cases at the bottom of that PS4 section.
Mm.
I don't know. I do want to see one of the committed.
They're more stocked on pop figures.
Yeah, they're already stocked on that shit.
They started getting graded Pokemon cards.
I was following some thread on Cheap Ass Gamer. They got them returned to him or something, and nothing ever happened from it or lost. Or I think it was Cheap ED that actually sent in those Pokemon cards. I was following a thread, and I don't get notifications from them, so I think I kind of fell off on it. But I believe they had sent in the cards and they were having some issues, like they were gonna only ship them back to the store or something. There was some weird drama with it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 327 of the NOFODcast. We are No Outside Food or Drink, the Southeast premier video game and post-Thanksgiving holiday podcast. Take that for whatever you need. Black Friday purchases, tryptophan, withdrawals. You guys have withdrawals from turkey? Brand, do you eat turkey?
Yeah.
Okay. Ham?
Yeah.
Smoked a ham. That was quite delicious. Took fucking forever to cook that bitch, but it was pretty tasty.
7-8 hours?
So that's to get it like to the regular temp, but this was I was going for. I need to send you the video. I know you are a meat smoking fan as well. I feel like I had a term that use weird terminology for that. I don't know. I know you're a fan of smoking the meats. I didn't know how to break that down. But you get it up to like the same temperature as pulled pork, so it just kind of pulls apart. So it's ham like pulled pork, which I'd never had before. So I was like, it's turned out pretty good. I used a glaze that had like orange marmalade and barbecue sauce, and that like cooked into it and stuff. And I think that I don't know if I would do that again. I might use something a little more simpler because people thought it was good. It's one of those critique the recipe when you're done, but I think it turned out pretty well. Did everybody have a good? This is our first show post Thanksgiving. Did everybody have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
As we record on Black Friday, the most sacred of all retail holidays, and specifically video games. I guess we can lead with games acquired, right? As we picked up stuff. What's that, Brant?
Small Business Saturday.
Is that tomorrow, technically?
Yes.
Is that when we go visit GameStop?
No, visit your mom and pop game store.
Are you partaking?
I do have one. I have a small mom and pop game store.
We all should go.
Or hit up the GameStop's gonna get to the point where they're a mom and pop store.
Are they?
What's that?
Are they?
Yeah.
No.
Funko Pop.
Funko
Mom and Pop.
Funko Mom and Pop.
Funko Mom and Pop. Oh, my kids want Funko Pops for Christmas. Is getting to that point.
People still want Funko Pops, man. They still want them.
I don't get it. It's on their Christmas list.
Their soulless eyes are on their Christmas list.
Yeah, I'm like, really? You're my children, and this is the kind of stuff you put on here that you want me to spend money on and have Santa Claus bring? Brandon Myers has
two up there.
Brandon Myers his shelf of Funko Pops.
I've got two up there. I've got another one down here.
Oh, they're everywhere. They're taking over, Brant.
I got a big one down here.
I've got the one giant Master Chief. And Cesar has one that came with a game, right? Wasn't it like a pre-order bonus or something?
It was a Kimetsu no Yaiba, Tanjiro.
Tanjiro from
I think it came
Demon Slayer.
Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer. Yeah.
It came with the import copy, or that came with one from here?
Came when I think when I pre-ordered from Best Buy because they had assured me like, don't worry, you're getting your Funko Pop. I was like, it's not really necessary. I'm okay. Because they sent it to me like almost a month late, and I was like, I don't even worry about it. Send it to somebody else who wants one. They're like, no, you're getting your Funko Pop.
They reassured you over and over. You must have been getting bombarded with it.
I don't know. I mean, that's Best Buy and GameStop are the only people that seem to be doing like these bonus gifts, right? So.
Who keeps sending me? I guess it's Best Buy keeps sending me like Nintendo stuff. Like Mario Party came with a bag, and
Echoes of Wisdom came with a little 2D diorama.
Yeah. I guess they're still doing that retailer exclusive thing.
Yeah.
Or is that mostly a Nintendo thing? Because I think like that Mario and Luigi Brotherhood, they had different things at different retailers, like keychains and stuff.
I think I got something for that.
Yeah, my Brotherhood came from Best Buy too.
I think they sent me something too. I just threw it somewhere like,
And then Dragon Quest was like some DLC code thing. So I was like, weren't they supposed to send me something for Dragon Quest? And I looked at my email and it was just like some potions or something for the game.
Should have got a download code for the PS5 version.
That would have been nice. I looked at it it's on the Humble Bundle, or it's on Humble Bundle. Yeah. It's on the Humble Store on sale, and with our 10% discount from that Humble monthly thing. I had that in Kingdom Hearts in my cart to get to the $100 thing, and I was like,
"Oh my gosh,
so close!" Because Kingdom Hearts was like $55.
Square Enix.
You'll never buy Kingdom Hearts.
Was that a challenge? Like I have to do this thing now? Games acquired.
I challenge it. I know it's. Me and Brant went out of our way to find you a sale copy. You're like,
This is back to that. This is back to that same price. You guys did well.
Yeah. Keeps edging the Kingdom Hearts buy for us.
Teasing you. Oh,
look, it's in the cart. It's in the cart again.
It is.
I don't even listen anymore. As soon as I hear Kingdom Hearts from Richard's mouth, it just flies out my brain. I'm like, I'm not
you block, unfollow.
I'm like, oh, cool. Look, there's something on the internet right here. Let me look at this.
I'll distract myself with this internet thing.
Yeah. I don't even have to like tell myself to distract myself. It just automatically like, oh, stuff I shouldn't be hearing.
No, in the pre-show, Brant was asking about Black Friday purchases, and we talked about like retail's not the same it used to be. There's no reason really to get out and look around for that stuff anymore. And the sales start. I felt like everything went live Sunday.
Golly.
Like anything I wanted was up Sunday. Today had no significant whatsoever. Like I saw nothing new today.
I mean, today is nothing new, right? At this point, if you didn't get in line within the last week, most places are sold out with all the good shit. You're in the store trying to get it, right? That's where it is at this point, right?
Was that so I keep seeing Silent Hill 2, the remake, for $50 everywhere. Was my $30 one a fluke? Was Walmart not supposed to have it for 30?
No,
I think they were supposed to.
today.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It went to 30 today because everybody like Best Buy and stuff has it for.
Did Brant buy it? That's the question.
Yes.
Brant jumped as well.
I bought Rise of the Ronin.
Oh, damn. I was thinking about that one, but I don't know if it's my kind of game.
Oh, there was something else.
Assassin's Creed, like that.
Oh, really?
Like old school Assassin's Creed. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was more of a Souls-like thing.
The battle part is, but it's not that difficult.
Kind of like Jedi, that new Jedi Survivor type series, Jedi.
I'm fairly certain it's like you could choose the difficulty level.
Alan,
you don't have to go like all in.
Alan Wake 2 is the other one I purchased.
Yeah, the physical copy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's because it comes with the DLC on the disc, right? Yeah, that is really worth it. I jumped on. I got a couple things that have been just on my list throughout the year. I told y'all that Epic Mickey demo. I really, really love that on PS5, and that's the one I was referring to in the.
I need $20
in the pre-show. I know the missus really wants to play that. That was like her favorite Wii game. She loved the shit out of that. So I think I've got it in.
I'm not judging. Yeah.
I got it on the PS5. I got it installed, and it's ready on the Portal. Like I was trying to explain to her kind of how the Portal works. I wouldn't be surprised if it cut on while I was down here, like, doop. I hear the beep cut on, and she's up there jamming on Epic Mickey. She might have to come down and get my login pin. Like, how do I get into this thing? But it feels so good. Like when I played the demo, I played all the way through the demo a month or so ago. The game hasn't been out for very long, right? And now it's down to 30, maybe 2 months.
It's been out a few months.
Yeah. But it feels so good on that haptic feedback. Like the whole gist of it is you're like either erasing paint or you're adding paint to the world that Mickey got sucked into, and it just feels so good with that haptic feedback. What else did I grab? Oh, I got a lot of stuff from Walmart, and if you've been listening to the show over the last couple months, there are tales of woe from Walmart purchases. Cesar ran into it with Topspin a couple months ago, so I actually opened all of those. I got the Tomb Raider Remaster Collection was $20 through them. Outer Wilds Archaeologist Edition, which comes with the DLC for that game. I jumped on that for $20. Walmart had Cyberpunk 2077, the PS5 version, with the DLC. It's the Ultimate Edition. They had that for $20. So when I got that one, I actually had bought something else from Walmart, and it came in the box, like peeled open, like a banana. Like the cellophane had just been ripped off the top part of the game, and I'm like, here we go, I'm one of them. I've been bamboozled. But I opened it up, and the disc was legitimate. Like I'm looking at the PS5 logo on the disc, and then Cesar had mentioned to me that the Xbox one has the DLC on the disc, but it's a download code on the PS5. So I was thinking at worst, somebody redeemed that code and I have to call and go through all that bullshit. But I was right there. The PlayStation app makes it super easy. Hit redeem code, type the code in, and it authenticated and told me to add it to my library or whatever. So yeah, that was a hell of a deal for $20 on that one.
Oh yeah.
I think
no brainer.
I think that's just about it. I grabbed something for friend of the show, Russell. I don't know if he's watching or not, but
no, he just sent you a text.
So did he?
You can look at that. Yeah.
What's he after? Trying to get everybody on
Basically,
when are we calling it to get on Tech Up by 10? Today, right now, is a Georgia Tech football game, so that is on the mind of many in our region. And Tech is actually winning currently by a field goal.
That's usually the MO, right?
Yes, Georgia started off slow every game.
Georgia's
entire
second half
season.
team. Yeah.
But Funko Mom and Pop is already in there. We have a lot of Funko. We end up with a lot of Funko references. Oh, I don't want to segue away from the Black Friday stuff. Let's keep going down that path. Funko reminded me. I've told you guys since last year. Simon Parkin has a podcast called My Perfect Console, and he gets somebody on. It could be a game developer, it could be a voice actor, publisher. He's had Peter Molyneux on there. But this last one is Andy McNamara, who for 30 plus years was steering the ship at Game Informer. And what I did not realize, and kind of intertwines with my history back in the day, Game Informer, we all know it as a GameStop product, right? Like that was their magazine. You subscribe to the magazine, you got 10% off games, 10% plus on trades. Like that was their whole pitch. And we ended up, eventually, my company ended up selling Game Informer. But Andy McNamara started off as a Funkoland employee, and the magazine spun up out of Funkoland. And then in, what do you say, like 2000, 2001, they were this close to being purchased by the company I used to work for, EB Games. And GameStop came in and added like $50 million on top of that sale price and scooped up Game Informer. And so when the two bigwigs from GameStop, and they were actually the two that oversaw the merger that purchased EB way back in the day, they came into the Game Informer offices. And as Andy McNamara is telling this story, he's like, we were super nervous. They, do they really need the magazine? Are they going to fire us? Like, how's this going to work? We've clawed and scratched, and like he shaped, Game Informer was kind of known for having a monthly reveal. So each one of their covers had a reveal. It was something about the new Borderlands game or Arkham Asylum, just something that you didn't know beforehand. Like they broke these, and developers came to them for these. It was an awesome episode. But he's got these two GameStop bigwigs in there, and they're super sweating it. And the execs are in there, and they like prop their feet up, and they're like, we love you guys. Like, we would have paid this amount for this magazine without getting Funkoland, because this is when they purchased Funkoland and Babbage's and started stockpiling game stores, essentially, which is the beginning of the end. But yeah, it provided stability for Game Informer for another 20-something years. But I highly recommend listening to that podcast. I wish Andy McNamara would write a book. I don't know how much he can disclose, being editor-in-chief of a video game magazine and all the deals that you went through and cover stories you signed. But it's fascinating. And you could tell, like, this episode's like an hour and a half. You could tell he could have just talked and talked and talked and talked. There were some really cool bits. They were lined up a cover story for GTA 3, because GTA 3 wasn't like, we know it as a zeitgeist now, but it was kind of a word of mouth. Hey, you got to play this game. Some crazy shit. Like pick up prostitutes. You could shoot cops, all this kind of stuff. And Rockstar had reached out to him and provided them one piece of artwork for a cover story. And it was the main character. Was his name Claude, or was that the second game? Because he was the silent protagonist. I think it is Claude, because it's Tommy something in Vice City.
It is Tommy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's Claude in the first game, right? In GTA 3, when he gets out of prison. He's shooting a cop. And so he reached back out to Rockstar, and he's like, listen, we can't run this one. You have anything else? And they're like, nope, that's our only piece of art we have right now. So if you can't do that, we'll just do the feature story. So they ended up running some other cover game that could have had GTA 3 on the cover, but it was the only artwork Rockstar was going to give them was Claude shooting a cop. It's like, and he's like, no, we can't put that on the cover of the magazine. This thing's going in stores. Oh, but it's fascinating. That is a very, very good listen. Because this guy, Andy McNamara, really, really cares about the industry and drove Game Informer for a long time. Black Friday, what'd you guys pick up? What else did you guys get? I derailed off the Funkoland story.
I think that was it. I mean, I hadn't really seen...
You got your Rise of Ronin, and what was the other one? Silent Hill?
Silent Hill remake and the Alan Wake 2.
You went for a horror-themed vibe.
Yeah. I think Metaphor is actually being purchased for me as well. Ooh. Because that was $30 as well. Or was it 30?
On
or
Steam?
It was on sale, so.
You gonna play that on Steam or PS5 or
PS5?
Yeah, I was looking for a sale on that too. But I didn't beat that prologue demo, which I was in love with at the time. Got to get through the free prologue demo before I pay for the content. At least get through the free part. Y'all been tempted by the Steam sale at all? Anything off the Steam marketplace?
There's some stuff on there that's pretty decent pricing, but
yeah, I would just be picking up some random things.
Bought random stuff, and I think I bought that Dreamcast collection. Those last 2 games I needed before they're delisted in like 6 days.
They are delisting some of those Sega games. We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the rumor is that another collection is going to replace it. So that's the reason we haven't seen any, or that those are disappearing, because Sega's been pretty good about their back catalog. Yeah, you guys got me some Steam games for my birthday, so I've got stuff to go through. You know, my backlog is is decent enough. I'm not at
all the backlog, man.
Yeah. As I'm playing more PS3 than ever, like a madman.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but we also got new Genesis games on NSO.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. New to NSO and Game Boy games.
Yeah.
I believe that console is now a dedicated Donkey Kong Country machine. I don't think there's any Donkey Kong countries missing from the Nintendo Switch, should you have the ultimate Nintendo Switch family online.
Yeah, the only thing we're missing is what your fan favorite Donkey Kong 64.
I don't think anyone would count that as a Donkey Kong Country game, but yes, we'll say Donkey Kong 64. Fan favorite. Favorite game of all time.
What's your favorite?
The best
Richard Mills and
it's good.
Russell favorite.
Me and Russell Mills, summertime, that was a good game. Just run around and collect shit as a different Kong. It wasn't a bad time. All right, does that wrap up our...
who was the titular Kong of choice?
Titular Kong.
There's only one infamous Kong.
I feel like we swapped out and we would just trade off back and forth. I think Russell might have played...
Pass that Kong back and forth.
Yeah. It was one of those,
Loser
like, play until you died.
Had to play that Kong.
What's that, Cesar?
Loser had to play that Kong.
I think we just, like, moved around, and if you died, you passed the controller kind of thing, because there's plenty of shit to do. And you would see, like, red bananas off in the distance and go swap out to... Who was that, Diddy? The red bananas? Is that the favorite Kong that everybody...
I don't know, man.
Those were the baby oil bananas.
Oh, God. Slippery when acquired. Ooh. All right, let's move into some of this news. Brant, as I was looking over the news, this is our Podcast Beyond episode. This is a baker's dozen of PlayStation news.
I gotta say, yeah, this is very heavy in the PlayStation news.
You threw in the Nintendo Switch Online story just to give it a non...
Tried to break it up.
Yeah, so it wasn't a Sony sweep.
But heck, that's a lot of what there was.
Yeah, what's Xbox's news? I think they backpedaled a little bit on their streaming thing. I think there was some difficulty with some of that streaming, but I don't think there was any major Xbox news.
No, I mean, I'm sure they're getting ready for Indiana Jones. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, spinning up. Have y'all seen any marketing or anything? Like, we should be in that. Should be spinning up some of that marketing.
They recently did a, I think it was toward the middle of last month. I didn't put it in the news because I think we all kind of want to go in blind on that one. Mm-hmm. But they did, like, I want to say 15 minutes of gameplay. And it was one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to watch this because I've already seen a bunch of the trailers. I don't really want to see a bunch of the story, or I've got the gist of it. I kind of just, when it comes out, I'm going to download it and play it, and we'll see what it is. So it looks pretty decent. So
I think they asked it, like, it's like what Brand said. They asked a few influencers to play that and Avowed. I think that's what, like, the first looks were the last couple of week or so.
And Avowed got delayed, right? Was that already announced as a delay? Okay.
Yeah.
But that looks good. Yeah, we've already all decided on Indiana Jones, and it's kind of a different era when you have Game Pass, and it's like, well, I'm not out $70 if this sucks. I just uninstall it. But everything we've seen from it so far looks awesome. And Machine Games is, I think, one of our favorite developers here on the show. We've all enjoyed their Wolfenstein stuff. Well, let's get into this PlayStation news. First story comes from VideoGamesChronicle.com and Andy Robinson. Sony, Brent may have an opposing take on this. Sony is planning a new PlayStation handheld, it is claimed. Sony's new PSP, quote, is in early stages of development. Brent would argue his new PSP is in early stages of being used in his house. I guess we'll get your impressions on games played, but I want to know how it's working out for you. Oh, the face. What does the face mean? Here we go. It's going to be something. Andy Robinson continues. Sony's developing a new portable console capable of playing PlayStation 5 games. It's claimed, according to Bloomberg, Sony Interactive Entertainment is in the early stages of developing the device, which is still years away from a potential release. The product is aimed at expanding Sony's reach and contending with Nintendo for portable gaming market, according to people familiar with its development. The concept could build on the recently launched PlayStation Portal, which Brant loves and adores, and is a portable console capable of streaming PS5 games via the cloud but cannot natively play titles. Any such PlayStation Portable launch could also compete with Nintendo's upcoming Switch successor and plans from Microsoft to potentially launch a similar Xbox device, following their marketing, which we talked about last week, of this is an Xbox. Earlier this month, Xbox boss Phil Spencer confirmed that Microsoft is working on handheld gaming prototypes, but claimed that any potential device is still years away. Speaking to Bloomberg, Spencer said Microsoft is working on prototypes and considering what it might do, and he's asked his hardware team to analyze the market and, quote, develop its vision based on what it learns. Any device is a few years out, he said. In the near term, Xbox will focus on making its app work better on existing portable devices and partnering with hardware manufacturers to make sure their products sync. He added, what do you guys think about a new dedicated PlayStation handheld? We've all loved every one they've made.
I was going to say, I'm definitely behind it. I'd be interested to see exactly what they do, because condensing a PS5 down to be portable is probably pretty expensive.
Yeah,
I would assume.
You'd think it would hit this middle ground of like the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck, right? Because they're proving that you can do that with these things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't forget that those new Ryzen 2s just got announced to be out in January. Those new Extremes, so those are pretty powerful. That's a big generational jump.
Yeah, but we've got Sony going for a portable device.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox has kind of hinted the fact that they want to do a portable device,
which is interesting considering their whole, we don't care if you buy one of our things, just play Xbox games on this and this and this and a Fire Stick.
Yeah, but they're still Microsoft. I mean, they make Surface Pros.
Yep.
I mean, they make specialty devices that are high quality, right?
Yep.
That's just all that Xbox is going to be. So,
yeah, I've always been interested in a dedicated Xbox handheld. That would just be awesome.
You're not going to go. They're not in the game anymore trying to get 100 million consoles sold. Anymore, so.
Thinking Inside the Box is here with, I think, turkey emojis. We summoned Thinking Inside the Box, talking about handheld Xbox consoles. I'm here. I'll pipe in. Yeah, we love the PSP. We love the Vita. Brant, you held off on the Portal for so long because it did not natively play anything, but
Brant was very vocally anti-Portal.
The DualSense and the Anniversary Edition convinced you. I don't know. Do we segue into that part of your games played, or how do we handle that?
No.
We wait for it.
Talk about it later.
We wait for the Portal talk
later.
You said you took it with you somewhere, so I'm thinking I have high hopes for this connectivity. Thinking Inside the Box says Sponge Monkey emotes. I cannot make that out for some reason. Restream compresses the hell out of those emotes.
But I want to know what they plan on doing, because if it's going to be playing PS5 games natively, is this something that the developers are just going to have to flip a switch for, or is it they're going to have to tweak their games a little to get it running on this handheld? Is
this a Series S scenario of like a weaker version that runs on that for digital copies?
Are we getting cross-buy features, like if you already have those from PlayStation Plus or digital, you're able to move them over, but we're SOL on our physical copies? Like there's a lot of kind of what ifs and questions that are, but it's a couple of years off, so I guess there's time to see exactly what they do with it. I'm excited because the last thing that we heard was Sony basically said they didn't see the point in really trying another handheld. They were like, yeah, we're done, we're out of it. But I think with the advent of the Nintendo Switch and we've had, how many handhelds are on the market now? Steam Deck, the Ambernick handhelds, the ROG Ally, the
Lenovo Go,
Lenovo
MSI Law.
Yeah.
The
Law.
There's
Odin, that Odin machine.
Yeah, the Odin. There's an unlimited number of Android devices and Steam powered Linux, Windows devices. They're all handheld gaming that are really popular.
And Brant, you're right, but I mean this Steam and all them really started the first consoles to go right in the handheld mode. Outside of a Sega Nomad, I'll take that to my grave. Was probably the only ones that could do console gaming.
Sega Nomad
on the go, right?
So, and the Turbo Express.
Yeah. So I mean I think that's the page that kind of turned. You're not buying a separate ecosystem where you have to buy games for. People had games on PC. You can play it on, the Steam Deck. I would imagine for the PlayStation handheld to work, they would probably do the same thing. Your same digital copies. Because I mean, you look at the PS5 Pro that came out. I mean, there's a lot of different options now to downgrade your way of playing. Some of them have put on there where you have a PS5 Pro, you can only play a certain way, but then there's some games you have. It's very PC-like. You have 6 or 7 different graphics options, depending on how you want to play. So I mean, a lot of these games nowadays are being tailored for different hardware. So
yeah.
And their bread and butter is first party stuff. So they're gonna have, Naughty Dog's gonna be able to customize that for whatever this handheld could be. You sell a bunch of these and you have a bunch of people in the PlayStation ecosystem. You're going to want Warzone running on that. You're going to want Fortnite running on this thing.
Richard's right. I mean, that's why they bought Nix's for, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've been very good about tailoring stuff to certain hardware. And that's what interests me on the Xbox handheld, because we still have that separation of ecosystem, right? We still have the Xbox OS and then we have Windows, right? And we know they're saying that the next console is probably mostly Windows-based, and how they're going to make that backwards compatibility, get those Xbox or 360 games that are playable on there into that ecosystem in Windows, right? So I think that's going to be the most interesting thing on there, because I mean, there's no way to play Lost Odyssey or Blue Dragon on the go, right? I mean, you would have to probably rely on an Xbox handheld to play those games because they're locking that operating system.
I was watching Thinking Inside the Box stream I feel like it's been about a month ago that they were playing Lost Odyssey, fighting the same boss over and over. Man, that thing was a grind. It was just all momentum on this game came to a halt with this boss. This boss was a bitch. I was like, it kept putting people to sleep and like regenerating. One of those where it's like a big boss in the back, and then it keeps regenerating these little peons in the front, and you can never quite wipe out like the grunts in the front to get to focus on the boss in the back. Mm-hmm. It was a fun stream, like being stuck on that boss forever. Back to the Sony thing, like they've shown that they are willing to dabble in this sort of stuff. Brant mentioned cross-buy earlier. It was super cool buying like, I remember Sly Cooper and PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Like you would buy the physical copy on PS3 and they would give you a digital copy for Vita. So you could play.
They were super into it back in the day. And
then they came out with I don't know why they didn't call it Vita TV. I guess PlayStation TV. Like, we would probably buy another PlayStation. Yeah, there's Brant showing for the viewers. Brant showing the cross-buy emblem on there.
And what's funny is if y'all play God of War Ragnarok, there's a PlayStation All-Stars reference in there too. So.
Is it really?
He brings the head that goes on there brings up, it's like, I've heard you had a battle against a princess and some other beings, and Kratos is like, we don't talk
about that.
That lore. Yeah. No, but remember they came out with the PlayStation TV. It was a mini Vita that you hooked up to your TV and connected to a PS3 controller to it, and you played Vita games on the TV in it. You could play those cross-buy titles, and you could access the store. Brant's holding up the Vita TV. I'm assuming there's some of your purchases on that memory stick in the back of it.
Dude, there we go.
That's what Sony wants to show you.
Pay no attention.
Brant's got a holder.
That was a mount.
It's just like a 3D printed like little handle.
Corner cop hand. Yeah.
Brant, copy me those files on that 3D printer for so I can have one of those in the back of my Vita TV. I think
it's definitely not soft modded so that all the memory for it is delegated to an external device instead of the actual internal memory, or using the BS dedicated memory cards.
Proprietary memory card on that thing.
Yeah.
Brant's over here.
I would never do such a thing.
Brant's over here. Ignore the man behind the curtain.
Ignore
the man behind the curtain.
That's another thing. Like, we've standardized these memory card formats and stuff, right? They're not going to do that sort of thing again.
Hopefully they would learn.
You think? I mean, all these handhelds you can pop micro SD cards into.
Considering what they did with the PS5, to where they're just like, hey, look, we have an expansion bay in there, and they said our plan is to allow you to expand the storage, and then they
it just needs to meet this standard.
And they were like, it needs to be these read and write speeds, but you can buy any SSD, as long as it's these read and writes.
I mean, you could
Simple,
buy,
easy, throw it in.
Mhm.
You're
you
good.
could buy SSDs with lower read and writes, and it still works. So
Yeah, it still does work.
yeah,
And I thought at the time, I think we talked about this on the show. I liked the Xbox. Who was making it? Seagate, I think, right off the rip, or
yeah.
like I
It was
thought.
Western,
Yeah,
I think
it
Western
was
Digital
Seagate.
came later.
Western
Yeah.
Digital came later. Like I
Mhm.
thought that was the way to go because there was only maybe one or two of these PS5 drives, and they were super expensive at the time. But I guess with just the way things go, and like I've ended up upgrading from like the 1 terabyte to the 2 terabyte, and that memory has gotten cheaper and cheaper, and that Xbox one has
way
not.
Cheaper. Yeah,
They've-
way cheaper
yeah.
to expand your PS5 memory than it is for your series consoles.
The Xbox chose to go the way of the PS Vita proprietary memory.
They did, and I thought that was the way to go at the time because that was it seemed like a better use of that, and I thought I could just like download stuff to that little expansion thing and move it in between my Xbox consoles, but they're different versions of those games. Like the Warzone, you can't just transfer the Series S Warzone to the Series X. It's a totally different thing. So I was like, well, that
Now, I do like that part about that memory card going from the S to the X. If I put Warzone on that memory card and just swap it through, as long as you sign in, it does.
I've not had that experience. It did not work like that for me. You were able to copy it over?
I just booted off the memory card.
Oh, okay.
And just plug it into the different consoles.
Yeah.
I take the games that I want to play the most, like Master Chief Collection or that, I leave it on the memory card and then swap it between the consoles. I don't actually move it back and forth to the consoles natively.
That's been my play. Or the network transfer to update, and that's convenient too.
So that memory card has come in handy me doing that. So,
but then Xbox still has like you can just plug a USB 3.0 in the back of an Xbox and put a bunch of 360 games and all that old school stuff can just go on those.
I think it runs Xbox Series games on there, right? It's not the PlayStation 5 way where you can't run PS5 games on these old hard drives.
No, it is what you're saying. It's like PlayStation.
Yeah,
you can't
remember it can store the game, but you can't actually run it off there. Remember, that's a whole.
Yeah.
But I think Xbox will run it off of those those standard hard drives, which is pretty cool. The expandable hard drives
for the old school stuff. And it's been like having to explain that to people at work. They're like, I got a Series S and it won't fit Call of Duty and Madden and MLB The Show, but I've got this external storage. And I'm like, you can get the Xbox One versions of those, but it's not going to play the Series X or S versions from those devices. There's been some confusing messaging as far as that goes.
Console generations are weird, man.
Yeah.
Console generations are weird.
Some things get better and some things are like steps backwards sometimes.
I know me and Richard missed the old days when we just buy our new version of Dishonored and it runs better on new hardware every time. So
now we've got them on Steam. We'll always have the best version of Dishonored, right? Is that the ultimate answer?
You think because Legacy, let me tell you, Legacy of Kain on Steam runs like horseshit. So
which one? Which one?
The original one, Legacy of Kain?
Blood Omen?
The Soul Reaver one.
Oh, Soul Reaver runs bad.
That's my favorite one. When I boot it up and with this brand new spanking graphics card that's maybe 2 years old, it always errors out like not compatible.
Damn. Is it because it doesn't have like gamepad inputs or anything?
I mean, I think at this point the solution would be buy the remasters, right? But like the OG original PC launch one, it just crashes every time. I can never get it to work on this PC. So
yeah, Thinking Inside the Box says as long as it's not a serious game, it can play off the external drive. Yeah. We tend to throw like Gears of War 2 and just some daily drivers that we want to have on there. We put those on those externals. All right. Sony handheld. Let's move into more Sony news. This is the Sony show. Thinking Inside the Box. This might not be your episode. There's not much Xbox news.
Sony heavy episode.
It is. This is our podcast Beyond, as I alluded to earlier in the show. Also from VideoGamesChronicle.com, and again, Andy Robinson. Andy's been busy. It's time to move on. PlayStation veteran Shuhei Yoshida is leaving after 31 years. Veteran Sony executive Shuhei Yoshida has announced he'll be leaving the company in January after 31 years at PlayStation. Sharing the news on the PlayStation blog, Yoshida said with the brand celebrating its 30th anniversary, he feels it's the right time to move on. I'm leaving Sony Interactive Entertainment on January 15th, 2025. It's like announcing the launch date of a new game. Something I haven't done for a long time, he said. Quote, I've been with PlayStation from the beginning, and this is my 31st year with PlayStation. When I hit 30 years, I was thinking, it may be about time for me to move on. You know, the company's been doing great. I love PS5. I love the games that are coming out on this platform, and we have new generations of management who I respect and admire. And I'm so excited for the future of PlayStation. So, PlayStation is in really good hands. I thought, okay, this is my time. Andy goes on to note, Yoshida joined the PlayStation project in 1993, a year before the release of the original console. He went on to become the president of Sony Computer Entertainment, now known as Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios. Yoshida currently serves as head of SIE's Independent Developer Initiative, where his role has been to look after and nurture external, smaller, independent studios. He did that, he kind of got the PlayStation VR off the ground, right? He was recruiting studios for that before he started doing this independent. Yeah. Because he said the PSVR launch was like his most exciting time at PlayStation since the PS1. Quote, one time stood out for me in my memory as something really, really special was when Journey got the Game of the Year award. He explained, Journey was distributed through PlayStation Network. It was a digital-only small game. You can finish playing the game within like 3 hours. But that game won Game of the Year against all these AAA titles. I think for the first time in the industry, the creator, Genova Chen, did a talk at the summit, and he talked about a letter he received from a girl who lost her father, and she thought about her father, and she was able to move on in her life. The whole audience stood up, and the whole room was filled with happiness and an amazing feeling that the small game could have such a big impact on people's lives. That's the end of the article? That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Journey. He singled out Journey. I haven't seen that interview yet. It's kind of crazy. We've never known a PlayStation without Shuhei Yoshida, right? And he really came to prominence with, I feel like, that Beyond podcast. Like, they really got him out there front and center, and he would come on and talk about games, and Greg Miller would be promoting him everywhere, and then Shuhei would always be in those E3 presentations, and he just loved games. You could always tell he was passionate about games. And I think they've followed up since this came out that he's not retiring from the industry, but just Sony. He's just leaving PlayStation. Yeah. So he would like to do something else.
Something
different. Typically, executives like this with Japanese companies stay with that company and retire with that company and everything. So it'll be interesting to see what his next move is. I don't, it's not like Shuhei's going to Nintendo. I think it'll be something leaning into his passion of, either showcasing some of these smaller games like Journey or grabbing a project like the PS1 was, or like the PSVR, that first PSVR was, and channeling that forward. I mean, he's got connections across the industry, so
yeah, he could consult for some independent studios or something. Or
we wish him the best. 31 years at PlayStation.
It's a lot of time.
It is a long time. Ooh, this Georgia game's going off the rails. It is now 16-0 Tech. Out of nowhere. That is your football update. Thinking inside the box says passion leaving makes me fearful that leaves the greedy left to run amok. I don't know that he's had much influence in Sony's decisions the past few years.
I'm about to say not lately.
No, they've kind of let him do passion projects, it seems like.
Yeah,
he's been
yeah,
like.
So would see that would be a demotion, like leaving the president of. He seemed like he just wanted to work with indie companies. He's always been doing what he wanted to do.
Right.
Recently.
Right. And almost like, remember, it was before we were recording the show. I think like Miyamoto and some of those older Nintendo employees were at fellow status, so they didn't really oversee projects or lead planners or anything, but they would just help out with tons of shit. They're just floating around, going from team to team. But he's leaving PlayStation, so he won't be doing that there. Like this is somebody who's seen it all. I would kind of want his input on where we're driving things as a brand, personally. But he said it's in good hands. They're making shit tons of money off PS5. It's highly successful, like he said. So
yeah.
He gets to try something else. Good for him. We'll see where he lands. Speaking of his success over the years, somebody told me about this PlayStation 2 update. I want to check out this website too. I saw the news, but I haven't checked it out yet.
So Sony has launched a website chronicling their achievements over the past 30 years for the 30th anniversary, among which they have images, videos, stats, and everything else for your PlayStation love. for their 30th anniversary coming up December 3rd in just a few days. Notably is the sales figures for PS2. Noting
they keep going up somehow.
Yeah. They keep finding them somewhere under the shelf or something, and they keep selling.
Where are they? You think there's like a stash in Brazil or something?
Possibly. They're selling. Like it's like every now and then how a 3DS gets sold over in Japan.
Yeah, and it beats Xbox One sales for the week. It's like 3DO 1, 3DS 2, Xbox One 1.
So the sales figures for the PS2 console have been shown as 160 million worldwide since its launch.
Andrew House.
Andrew House numbers.
Oh no!
Come on, Brant. This is a celebration of Sony. Sony press people. What am I trying to think of? Figureheads. Famous Sony figureheads. Yeah.
But since its launch in 2000, this is the same figure that was mentioned back in March from former Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan, but was never official until now, where they published it right here, as opposed to their own business data and sales page that still lists the console selling 155 million units.
Which is no slouch.
Either way, the PS2 remains the best-selling console of all time, ahead of the Nintendo DS and Nintendo Switch, which have sold 154.2 million units and 146.4 million units, respectively, as of September 2024, according to Nintendo. And then they also talk about the other things they've done for the 30th anniversary, such as the new gray-themed consoles and accessories, which are for the limited time, as well as the possibility. There's been a lot of rumors going around that we might hear something on the 3rd for the anniversary.
I don't believe you.
There's these talks of
what are the rumors? Brant, what have you read?
Well, there's possibility of maybe a slight show or announcement or something. Obviously we're
Insider Brant. No, Brant. Insider Brant. Tell us more.
We're supposed to get black colored DualSense Edge.
I see the Helldivers
as well as
one
a
down
Portal. And then we're supposed to get a Helldivers themed controller. It's weird that we got a Concord themed DualSense before we got a Helldivers.
Hey man, remember behind the
controller.
Behind the scenes, Concord was supposed to be the shit. Like they had a lot riding on Concord. That was supposed to be driving big part of PlayStation for the next few years.
Yeah, priorities, Brant, priorities.
Did the Concord controllers hold value? Or is it just like regular DualSense?
I was going to ask you that.
I don't know.
The game plummeted because there's plenty of copies of the game out there.
Richard, did you get you have to have the combo. You have to have the controller in the game. That's how you bring up the value of the whole set.
Didn't you say there was like a merch store sale a couple weeks ago? I think we were recording the show and you were like, Mario's tweeting about Concord merch, like beanie, coffee mug.
I happened to be on the PlayStation website, and I did see...
Brant, show us your Concord t-shirt.
I saw some merch that I did want, but among searching everything that was on sale, I did see some the Concord stuff, and there was a decent amount.
I mean, it's a good-looking controller. And the DualSense is a kick-ass controller anyways, but... There's not already a black DualSense? Oh, DualSense Edge. Okay.
Edge.
Yeah, that's
Edge,
the kicker. Yeah. Pulse Elite wireless.
I had to look at it twice for myself.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I thought we've had a black controller already.
Oh, I mean, your Concord controller sealed is going for $235, $299,
damn,
$399.
Whoa!
I potentially
$149.
I potentially bought and was shipped 2 copies and never paid for either one. The lesser value, which is the coaster. I have 2 coasters. They are plummeting in price.
Get at least one of them graded. Send it
Oh
off
my
to be
God, Brant, I'll be that guy. My Wata Concord. No one wants my Wata Concord. I'll be one of those schmucks.
They send it back. We could not grade this piece of shit.
Not in
just a
game
coaster.
database. Yeah. Sorry, we don't grade coasters here.
They also refund your shipping too. We want nothing to do with this.
Yes. I think friend of the show will also end up buying that Helldivers 2 DualSense. I think he would jump for that. Thinking Inside the Box is joking about the fat PS2s returned. How many PS2s did you guys go through? Not ones you added, like how many actually died on you?
Actually, 0. I still have my original launch PS2. I've never had any problems out of it.
000.
I had one go bad, but this was I bought it from the store that Brant actually frequents. It was a Funko Land at the time. And we scraped together enough to get a refurb, or whatever their trade promo was like trade in a PS1 and 5 games that fit their little trade promo thing and get a PS2 for $50 or whatever it was. We got a refurbished one, and it did not last long. But by the time that was going out, we were playing a lot of Xbox, but by the time that was going out, the Slim came out. And the store that I eventually ended up working at EB, they had some, I don't even think it was a trade promo, but the employees hooked me up. And I was able to offload that defective fat model and get one of the new Slims as it came out. So one died on me, I guess you could say, but it was already a known issue. If it was a GameStop refurb, it wasn't a Sony sold refurb.
Don't get me started on GameStop refurbs. I've been watching videos where they've been using a Magic Eraser on their consoles and scratching them all out.
Oh my God. What consoles are getting the Magic Eraser?
The PS5s, like the gloss, everything's scratched.
Oh, it'll straight take off.
Some guy just buys.
It'll straight take off that top layer of plastic on like PS1 or PS2. Do not use a Magic Eraser on PS1 or PS2. That shit will be gone. That's it for the PlayStation 2 story. What's our next PlayStation story? Here we go. Thinking Inside the Box is curious about this.
PlayStation Brand.
Yeah.
PlayStation Brand.
From Chris Scullion at Video Games Chronicles. Sony is reportedly in talks to acquire From Software.
Who are they? Are those the people that made Kingsfield?
Technically, they're looking.
Why did they start? What? Yeah, but Brand, you're over here. It's like it's not even From Software.
They're technically looking to buy Kawakata.
Kadokawa.
I don't know that I've ever heard that name before, that branding. That's just the umbrella. That's the major.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
kind of like ZeniMax was.
They're big. They're big in like anime. They have a lot of anime, a lot of music, a lot of light novels, a lot of manga, a lot of IPs that are being distributed. I want to steal it from Brant, but basically,
that's why Sony wants them.
A lot of the stuff that Sony has through them, like Sword Art Online, ReZero, all the big stuff is from Kadokawa.
Okay.
So it's like Sony has Crunchyroll. They're cutting the check to Kadokawa to license this stuff here. So basically, you cut out the middleman.
Oh.
You know, just cut the check to yourself.
Right. So there's a bigger piece of the puzzle than just Sony buys Elden Ring. That will be the headline, but there's
only like 4 game companies under the Kadokawa umbrella. It's Spike Chunsoft Games,
which is like had a renaissance recently.
Acquire Games and From Software. That's the only ones on there. But I don't know, man. I could tell you what's going on without looking at the article. I mean, essentially, they're going through an issue like Ubisoft. There's a hostile takeover from a Korean company that's going in there buying up all Kadokawa's shares. And Sony Kadokawa has been flirting for like the last decade about going back and forth and about purchasing, like Sony purchasing them for the longest time. And I think they come under the impression that they send a letter of intent to Sony, like, hey, if you want to buy us, now's the time. Because they don't want to get hostily taken over from that Korean company.
Then you're not in control of your own destiny.
Right. So I think they're probably looking at the numbers and everything right now, because I think it makes sense to get all that stuff under the umbrella. I think a lot of people throw out Monopoly on there. It's not. I don't think it'd be a Monopoly on there because I think it's just weird in the Western
A
hemisphere,
monopoly how though?
Anime wise.
Oh,
Because
does it already have Crunchyroll?
yeah, I think Crunchyroll is the biggest distributor in the United States, but in Japan, there's Netflix distributes all anime. There's no dedicated anime service in Japan, so it would be different in other parts of the world. But I think Kadokawa only has like 10% of the market. It's not even that huge. Sony doesn't own any of those IPs or any anime IPs to begin with. I mean, they own A1, which is a production studio that they work with anime companies. It's like a middle ground one.
How did Netflix corner that market like that?
I mean, I think it's all on the distribution because, like I said, when everybody always talks about monopoly with Crunchyroll, Crunchyroll doesn't own any of that stuff. It's all licensing, right? So it's like whoever has the most money gets the anime. So it's like if Netflix over here wants to have more money, you know, they anime, they put more money into it. They've been doing better because a lot of that back catalog that's been exclusive to Crunchyroll has been showing up on Netflix now. Like you have My Heroes on there now, up to like the last couple seasons are not up there. All Black Clover. I mean, all that stuff that's been behind that Crunchyroll wall and Funimation wall for the longest times is going away. So it's like there's a very small exclusive window now in Crunchyroll on a lot of that stuff. So I mean, a lot of their new stuff is on also Hulu. They should, do the same day as Hulu. So, but I mean, that's a long story. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, I think.
I mean, you typically keep us up on all these acquisitions. I get lost in this shit. You break it down and make it way easier.
So essentially, Sony Music runs their whole division when it comes to anything media based that's not movies. That's kind of like native to Japan. So if they were to indeed buy Kadokawa, I would imagine they would integrate them into Sony Music. They wouldn't put in like under their Crunchyroll umbrella or anything like that, because there's no Crunchyroll in Japan. They have a headquarters there, but there's no service there. I would imagine it would be managed by Sony Music. I don't think the games part on there, because it doesn't fit their PlayStation Studios profile, right? I mean, From Software sells better multi-platform, right? So I don't see them
across going, PC and Xbox Studios and everything. Yeah. I don't think it was skewed PlayStation sales wise on any of those releases.
Right. I think at that point you acquire them to stop. You get that bigger piece of the check, right? Kind of like what Xbox is doing with Call of Duty, right? Yeah. So I mean, you get a bigger, you get rid of that licensing fee. So I think nothing will really change, and I think like Spike Chunsoft is like those are smaller publisher companies, smaller games. I don't think it fits their brand and portfolio that they're shooting for right now with all these AAA games. That's what they're pushing for. So I think they would just lead them into the Sony Music umbrella, like they've done with other games that they've basically published on other systems. There's the Sony Music has put games on Nintendo Switch exclusively and bypassed PlayStation altogether. I mean, this is something they've done for years, even though their parent company is Sony. So I think they would just all go under that umbrella, in my opinion. So I don't think nothing much would change. A lot of people are like,
it's just a small piece of a bigger puzzle.
Yeah. You just cut out the middleman when you cut your check. You just cut a check to yourself now. You get more of the money in there. I don't think anything will change from FromSoft. I mean, I don't think you regulate a studio with that much talent to like do certain things, because you will just lose the talent at the end of the day. So I don't think nothing much will change. I don't think this is really anything big news. And then some people come up here and said a lot about the anime monopoly thing. I don't really think it's an anime monopoly thing, because I mean, nothing really changes outside. A lot of those series is already licensed through them. They're just going to cut out the middleman, bring in more money. So that's if they hang on to any of that stuff. Because like I said, I mean, it's interesting. It would diversify the portfolio. Because if you look at the other day as an investor, right, a majority of money made from Sony nowadays is what, from PlayStation. So everybody talks about how PlayStation, blah, 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 third party, stuff like that. It's like, I don't see them ever going full third party or anything like that on like other consoles outside of what they're doing now, because, I mean, you hurt that main brand, which is your main bread and butter. So I think at that point, they're trying to branch out, and they think anime is the one where they like, all right, we need to have another pillar that we can't, if we want to decide to make changes in gaming, it's not going to fuck up.
Yeah, when PlayStation has ebbs and flows as a revenue source.
Right. That way they can make challenges like kind of like they did Lego Horizons on Switch. We can do that without having to worry about hurting our brand, because then everybody's like, well, you're moving your PlayStation games to other things, other consoles. So this is your main moneymaker. What are you doing? So
their PC ports have been nothing but successful. They haven't. Some of them haven't sold gangbusters. Like, what was the last one that didn't really move the needle?
Lego
Horizon.
I think consoles is still their biggest money maker right now, right? It's the biggest thing that
And
Microsoft's kind of
subscriptions.
pushing away from, right? So I think at that point they want to use anime to kind of build up a pillar because anime's hot right now. I don't think it's a good idea because I've always told you guys about the anime bubble about to burst soon at some point because there's just too much anime at various versions of like none of it's all great.
Is it saturation? Is it oversaturation?
Yeah. There's some anime. There's some animes that start out so well in the season, and I look at the end of it, I was like, man, this turned into a fucking PowerPoint. Like they're just moving images across the screen. It's like you could see where they were losing money at the end of the year just to get shit out.
Disc so 2 of Xenogears quality.
Yeah. A lot of shows that I like is like, man, that they took a hit on the animation dive at the very end. Because a lot of the industry is very bad, right? They're overworking those people. Some people don't ever go home. So depending on the studio you work for, Mappa is very known for that. So Crunch over there is really bad on the anime studio. So it's like that bubble is going to burst at some point. But you own a lot of different IPs that are popular, like Sword Art Online, like I mentioned. Dendeki Bunku is also one of there, which owns a lot of IP properties that are popular around the world. Like was it?
You have to tell me. I'll draw a blank on this one. I can't help you out on this one.
A certain magical index. There's a lot of whole one. Sword Art Online, like I said before, ReZero. A lot of that stuff is Kadokawa. A lot of that big stuff. So I mean, the biggest distributor of manga and anime IP over there is Shueisha, who owns Shonen Jump. So I think they have the biggest market, like at 47% or something like that. They were going to buy them. I would
assuming a Shonen Jump would be a huge portion of that.
And Shonen Jump right now is having their own issues because they just retired a lot of old series. I think it's funny, the only senior series right now in Shonen Jump is One Piece. Like Jujutsu Kaisen, all the recent ones around the year have already finished. They're done.
One Piece forever.
Like everything they had. At the end of the day, the only one they're doing right now is all new manga. Basically, within the last 2 years, there's nothing that's been there long term. So they're going through like a weird spot right now too because they're like a lot of their long-term series are just finished up this year, surprisingly. So, but
it's like they all had this year circled on the calendar.
I don't know what this article says, but I kind of just summarized what's going on. So I mean, at the end of the day, they're just sent out a letter of intent. Like I think nothing has been done. I don't even think nothing's been thrown out money-wise.
Yeah,
it's just that like, hey, if you're gonna buy us now. We're ready.
The article breaks down a big. Yeah, you did way deeper dive on the anime stuff than they have in here. They just mention basically From Software, Dwango, I think, which is the telecom and media company, and then Acquire at the very end that Brant put in the news. But I didn't realize they were behind both Octopath Travelers and the new Mario and Luigi Brothership. That would be kind of wild.
Yeah, I don't see anything really changing outside of Sony on taking that big company. It's just how they would distribute that portfolio. Because like I said before, they don't have a section for books. I don't know what they would do with those manga or light novels books. I mean, they have a music section already for like the music that they own. Movies, they would move over to Sony. Sony have a movie studio for that. I mean, anime, you have Sony Music handles their anime. So it's like how to integrate that whole service, and it's probably the biggest thing on there. I mean, the biggest thing on here is the From Software, but I think it's
for our industry, for what we would be focused on our show. Part. Yeah,
I think it's a bunch of smoke for no reason. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, yeah, people are scared. Like, there's going to be exclusive stuff for play. I don't see it happening. I mean, it sells so well.
Yeah, they'd be taking money off the table.
Platform. I would not be surprised. And I'm calling it if it actually goes through. I would not be surprised if they give them back Bloodborne and Demon Souls, and we see those on other things.
Which will be good.
I would not be surprised.
Which will be a good move.
I would say, hey,
everybody's clamoring for Bloodborne all the time. Give the people Bloodborne.
Take these back. Take these IPs back you're under our umbrella. Doesn't matter. Put these on other things if you want. Another
get Nixus involved on those too.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if that happened. I think we would see that before them put him in the PlayStation family. It made sense. It didn't make sense for Bungie, in my opinion, but we saw why they did it for Bungie because their live service games and why they kind of integrated it now because they spent all that money.
Oof.
I don't see that happening. I'm more worried about the Spike Chunsoft because I don't think those are like middle ground ones, or they're pretty big, but they're not small enough where they fit the Indies initiative that Sony Music Games kind of published.
Is there any huge, like I know we've gotten collections recently, but is there any huge Spike Chunsoft property? Do they have?
I mean, they developed.
Do they have River City Ransom?
No, they developed the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. They're developers mostly.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing they own is they own Mages, which owns Steins Gate, the visual novel Steins Gate, which we're getting ready to kind of reboot recently. So, which still kind of fits the Sony.
Yeah. Downstream effects of all this stuff.
The only thing I'm worried about would be like what they do with Spike Chunsoft. Do they spin that off? Does somebody come in and buy it from them to help with the price? Because we know they're holding on. We know they're holding on to From Software, right? Unless they spin them off, unless they want to go independent, which you kind of got to do, right? They're like the best, one of the biggest developers out there. You don't want to piss them off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they wanted to go independent, kind of like the whole Bungie thing, where they wanted to go and not, to do their own thing. You kind of let them do it, right? So, I think you appease them and say, hey, you just keep doing what you're doing. You're just under our umbrella. You're not even under the PlayStation Studios. We're not even putting you in the logo. You know what I mean? We're not going to put you in the logo. But I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, there's nothing to report on it yet, other than the intent of sell.
Yeah.
Because you got to be careful, because stocks goes up and down because of that.
And it already did, stock, based off of that.
I mean, the Japanese stock went up because I think Katakawa took a hit because they just got done through a hack, right? They just had a huge hack where a lot of their anime shows they were working on.
Cyber attack.
That they were working on until 2026 got leaked out. That was never supposed to leak out. So like a lot of series, they're coming now. Some episodes got leaked out from that, and some of their light novel stuff. So like at one point they restricted access to their website from anybody outside of Japan, because I've tried to go there before and they say, well, you're outside the country, you can't get in this access to the website.
You change your VPN to Japan and get through.
And I did, yeah. I do have an IP in Japan, and it does work.
Interesting.
But
locking things up.
Yeah. So I think they had dropped 20. Like this is an article here says they dropped 20%. And they just went up 23%. So they kind of brought back what they lost. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I do see. I can see it happening if the price is right. Bob Barker would say.
If the price is right.
Okay. I do see them doing it. It's just going to be interesting in how they're going to integrate all the other. I don't think the video game stuff's going to be that big of a deal. I think how they integrate like all that IP, that content. I mean, that's kind of like what they need right now, right? To do their less reliance on the video game part, because that's a dangerous thing to have all your money in one, all your eggs in one basket, right? You kind of want to spread them out to different baskets. So, but yeah, that's my take on it. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else missed from the article y'all want to bring up.
No, nope. You did a great job.
That was a deep dive.
Real quick, I can go into the ads for our NSO and NSO Plus.
Yeah, there's been an update. There's a newer version, newer take on that article that you've got coming up.
So you've got Donkey Kong Land for your regular Nintendo Switch Online that was dropped a few days ago. And then I think it was maybe the day after that, they announced for those of us with love for the Mega Drive or Genesis, 3 games added to that.
Oh, I forgot about the Genesis ones.
Vector Man, Mercs,
Vector Man,
and Toe Jam and Earl.
Panic on Funkotron.
Panic on Funkotron. The less impressive version of the game.
It was okay. It was a side scroller.
It was all right. It was not the original Toe Jam and Earl.
It had its moments. Russell and I played through it in one sitting. It was like it had its moments, but it's not. It's not the Toe Jam and Earl formula, the roguelike that we all know and love. And then Donkey Kong Land 2 got added to Nintendo Switch Online, so you got both Game Boy Donkey Kong countries land. They did the World Land thing. If you're gonna make a similar game on Game Boy, you got to call it Land at the end. But those are 2 really good titles, and they were yellow cartridges on Game Boy. I got one of them from Media Play back in the day.
Oh, Media Play.
They play really well on the Game Boy, too. I fired up the first one and played like the first couple levels. You got a overworld map and everything. It's just like Donkey Kong Country on a smaller scale on the Game Boy.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy how they were able to pull that off. And they're late Game Boy games, so they had mastered the Game Boy hardware.
Yeah.
I feel like Donkey Kong Country's kind of been one of those challenges, because remember they made the Game Boy Color port that was solid. Mm-hmm. They made a Game Boy Advance port of all 3 Donkey Kong Countries that were, they were good. The audio wasn't quite up to snuff with the Super Nintendo, but they were very competent Donkey Kong Countries.
Yeah.
I forgot about the Genesis stuff. Good job throwing that one in there.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to when you were talking about the Dreamcast stuff being released. I was like, oh yeah, we got Dreamcast Sega stuff. After 96 years, man, remember we went all these months. I think the last Crusaders of Ascenty was the last thing we got recently.
Has it been that long since a new Genesis game was added to that?
I feel that is 100% accurate and probably incorrect, but you know.
And again, I'll bitch about this when they add stuff to these things. You have to, on your Switch, you have to go into each one of these little console modules. You have to update the Game Boy one. You have to update it tells you there's something new to play, and the little cartridge turns over, like the box art turns over inside there. But I would love on the successor of this console that there is some like unified platform to just update that stuff all at once. Just let me know the new Game Boy games are in there, and they're in that same emulator housing or whatever it is for each one of those. But they've done like the N64 when you can't put scanline filters on there. They've done some different things with those emulators. So I don't know if that's why they stay separate, but small gripe about those. All right, so last but not least in news, and
I think the only thing we missed out on, I'll throw it in here real quick, is I thought Richard was going to throw it on here, but Garrett Friendly on Twitter had said that they finally crossed over 500 terabytes of threshold of preserved PlayStation history at work. They were able to back up successfully.
Oh, who did that?
Garrett Fridley. He works for Sony on their archiving purposes.
Okay.
You know, like those stuff where they lose source codes for games and stuff like that. This is all he does at Sony, is to back up their gaming history.
I did not see that story. That's amazing.
Like you kind of have Azure services where they have different servers for backing stuff up. So that's what he sets up. So he said he just crossed over 500 terabytes of preserved PlayStation history.
Amazing.
At Sony that he was able to back
amazing.
up. He says on there, he says it's weird to consider what a half a petabyte looks like, considering the size of modern AAA titles. An honor to preserve it all, but copying hundreds of millions of files is super slow.
I bet.
He's been doing it for the last 2 years. Yeah.
What does that include? Like design documents and manuals and everything?
Yeah, all that stuff. Everything gaming related. And I think his job is he just goes through everything that Sony has on their servers, catalogs, organizes, and stores it on a separate server that's dedicated just to PlayStation stuff. So
keep that stuff back that stuff up so it's not lost.
Keep it alive.
Yeah. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, I watched the YouTube video where they pointed that out.
That's cool as shit. I like the behind the scenes stuff. I did not see that story.
They got the ad from the 9 Crash Bandicoot outside Nintendo headquarters.
Probably like the raw file from that, like the straight from the cam.
The outtakes.
The outtakes of the Bandicoot.
So I know not all of us on Twitter, but I mean, if you go on Twitter and look for John Anderson 21, he has a very good Twitter thread where he goes on, does a presentation on there where they talk about tackling a legacy with PlayStation asset and IP preservation. And then he has some of the PowerPoints of like the stuff that they're kind of back cataloging on there.
Damn, they should put that on YouTube and Threads and Blue Sky and everywhere.
It may be on there.
Does this person have an account that's not on Twitter so I can view it?
So it shows on there, like I gave an example. So what the PlayStation Studios IP preservation team does is like they got an engineering section where they put in their title tech, which is Unreal, the infrastructure, the toolings they use, and they have the curation side. So they break out, it's a pie of 3 different areas. And from there they have organization, sourcing and discovery, and then restorations. And then they have the management side, which is like the agreements, the timelines they have to set up games, the metrics on game sales and stuff like that.
That's good shit.
How many, like we've been talking about, how many PS2s you fucking sold. I mean, that's the stuff that they're cataloging now.
That's awesome. Hopefully that turns into a viewable, consumable thing for the consumers, right? To be able to digest some of this stuff.
As thinking inside the box is mentioned on here, that's all everybody said when the news was announced. It's like, find some way to emulate it to us. Like put a way to emulate it to us. So.
Last but not least, we'll get back to the PlayStation news. We've only had one non-PlayStation story.
Yeah, true.
From an Xbox studio.
I'm sorry, I threw that in there because it just popped in my head like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Just popped in there.
Just like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, just like
Game Preservation and Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, hand in hand. It's your December monthly PlayStation games. Those titles are It Takes Two for PS4 and PS5, Aliens Dark Descent for PS4 and PS5, and Tim for PS5. It's a very Pokemon-esque title by Tim. There's a sneak peek for the Classics catalog. We'll be talking about it in a couple weeks, including Sly 2, Sly 3, and Jak and Daxter.
Let's fucking go.
I don't think there's a way for me to pre-purchase those Sly games. I don't think they came separately on PS3. So
I'll let you know. I'll let you know on the Jak and Daxter because I just completed it this year. Remember?
Yeah.
I went to the first one on PS4 and PS2, and I will let you know if that thing happened like it did with Siren, if it's just there for me to add to library. Richard, I think you're right. Sly 2, Sly 3 was never released as part of the PS4 and PS2 project, so those will be new purchases for me. Yeah,
and I've got all the Jak and Daxter games. They used to sell that bundle for like $20 with all those.
I will gladly play this Jak and Daxter 1 again versus playing Jak and Daxter 2 again. I just fell off Jak 2 so fast.
I've played that first game. I've started that first game so many damn times.
That Jak 2, man. I don't know, man.
I'll pay
Grand Theft Auto Jak.
I'll pay Brand $100 to beat it for me.
Wow.
I need to go back to it at once, but yeah, I'm with Cesar, especially going from the first game right into the second game. It's that change in tone, and it's like, oh shit, this is like a completely like 180 shift in direction and everything, and I'm just, that's not what I'm feeling right now because I just got off the first one, and this is completely different.
Yeah. It's less linear, right? There's a hub. You have a central hub, and then it goes out to different areas that you can kind of revisit. And I kind of missed that whole linear. Like I just kept going to keep pushing me forward like a platformer. I don't know, man. I'll have to give it a chance one day.
We sold a shit ton of those. I feel like my first holiday season, that was in a PS2 bundle. I think we sold a lot of Jak 2 and like one of those ATV Off-Road Furies. I feel like that was a retail bundle that we sold because there's tons of Jak 2 sold that I remember. Yeah. And then getting like the demo discs for Jak 3 and Combat Racing. Like that was in the era where we got one of those Sony platformers every winter. You got a new Sly, you got a new Jak, you got a new Ratchet and Clank. It was like annual franchises. You would get these titles. Quality. I miss that level of product and turnaround. Is that it for news? I'm sure we'll talk about more of the premium catalog stuff when that is officially announced, because that's just a preview of those. I
think that's it.
On to games played from news. Thinking Inside the Box. Thank you for joining the PlayStation News podcast. It's just how it turned out. That ended up being the forte of the show, I guess. Games played. When was the last time we recorded? What had we? Did I bitch about new Warzone mechanics? shooting at the wavy guys. Helped Cesar figure out the
Plunderer.
The glitch, the issue that he was having. So we got in there and ran a game of Plunderer. I had 3 shootouts in Warzone, and I died in all 3 of those, and was never felt competitive because the person's wiggling around the whole time. And the Omni movement, I don't know. I've got to do. Russell said there's some kind of like training or boot camp thing. I've got to do something to figure out how that is, because I never should have lost either of those 3. Like I had to jump on them and everything, and they fucking killed me. I was like, sure, how does this work?
I was very negative about it on this podcast previously on that, but I've come around after playing several hours of multiplayer. It kind of just fits naturally now.
Somebody came sliding in and like jumped. They shot me from underneath, and I'm like, sure, whatever. This is fine. I guess. It feels like a totally different game. It doesn't feel even like the same.
We were doing like enemy at the gates. Remember at that one point?
Oh yeah, the sniper was up there in the crane trying to shoot at us. I did like that Plunderer concept, but we just played this one so that Cesar could potentially get out of that glitch he was in with the Modern Warfare 3 weapon skins.
When me and Renee played it, it was a lot better time. It was a better time. It was more. It felt like it was more even. This one just felt like everybody was always on us and murdered us so easily.
Easy murder. Nothing like some easy murder. I did some more dabbling and just random stuff. Like the end of the year's coming up. I want to play some more Astrobot as we talk about like Game of the Year games and stuff like that. I had cleared the whole first galaxy, but now there's like, when I flew back over there with Astrobot, there were like these asteroids bumping around, and when you hit them, it's like a whole nother level, and then you've got extra bots, because I thought I had cleared that level, and then it says like on the main screen that I've gotten, say 25 of 28 bots, and I'm like, how the hell is this a thing? So there's like these little hidden ones that you have to go back and do in that same galaxy. So I did those. I've got the whole, was the Kong Galaxy. That was one of our episodes. That one's done.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on to like, looks like an octopus is the next one, is kind of the direction I went to. And I've fully cleared those first 2 levels. That continues to be amazing. Astrobot's just phenomenal. I think that's going to be on Game of the Year list on repeat when that episode comes out. It's so good. I've sent the game's been like $40 on Black Friday. I've sent it to so many people like get Astrobot, those that I know that didn't have it yet. So you like platformers and you have a PS5, this is a must-own title. Resistance. I'm back on this PS3 kick, right? This seems to come in waves. So I fired up Resistance Fall of Man on the PlayStation 3, a launch title that Cesar and I played at launch 18 years ago. How long's that been? 2006?
Seems right.
18 years ago. Cesar had the PS3. I did not. And we did not have DualShocks. There were no DualShocks yet. We played this with the 6-axis controller because next-gen gamers don't want rumble in their controllers, right? That's what we were being told at the time.
You gotta love Sony to tell you a lot of things.
They do.
People don't want.
They tell you what you do and don't want in your games.
And then it always backfires on them.
Yeah.
So.
I'm playing on a Plasma. Kind of a side note, I dove into some of the settings on the Plasma, just kind of poking around, and there's a dark mode on this thing. So I thought it already had like really great color representation and stuff, and I turned on this dark mode on this Plasma. It is right up there with my OLED on picture quality. I'm just looking at it like, holy crap, this is phenomenal. I thought it was on another level. This like totally bumped it up. But I'm on these. I got my Reddit wrap up of the year, and my most visited subreddit is the PS3 subreddit somehow. I'm very thankful in my Reddit wrap up that it was not a naughty subreddit. I thought there was a strong chance it could be that. So I see PS3 on their Reddit wrap up, and I'm like, okay, that's good. That's promising. And everybody's clamoring for Resistance to come back and Killzone to come back, and they've added them to those services, right? Like you can stream these now on the premium services. Is it all 3 Resistance games or just 1 and 2? It is 1 and 2, yeah. And are the Killzones on there yet?
I think 3 was always
3
on
has
there.
always been on there. So you have these franchises that are stuck on a console unless you pay for the premium subscription thing and stream them on PS3 on a PS3 farm somewhere.
Let's hope they get that backwards compatibility.
It's an expensive disc you're holding there, Brant. That Killzone trilogy is not a cheap collection. A lot of those PS3 trilogies are not inexpensive these days. But they talk about the clunkiness of the first Resistance. The frame rate, I immediately can tell, like, all right, this is a launch PS3 game. Some screen tearing. When all hell breaks loose, there's like, you can definitely tell the frame rate drops. But this is a super competent, fun shooter. Some of the controls are not, like, you crouch with L2, I think. And famously, the PS3 controller they weren't with the 360 with like triggers on the back, right? So I had bought many years ago these plastic clips that kind of clip on the back of the L2 and R2 buttons to give them a better feel on the shoulder buttons and stuff. And you can remap the controls, and there's threads on Reddit where they tell you like what to switch up with Resistance, but it just takes a minute to kind of get used to the controls. Nowadays, all shooters pretty much play the same way. You don't really have any mega differences in controls. Hold down this button to sprint. You don't sprint in Resistance, kind of like Halo, where you're just kind of plodding around. But the cool thing with Resistance is you start getting the alien weapons like right off the rip, and this is Insomniac, so it's like the crazy Ratchet and Clank style weapons. The first one you get is called a bullseye, and you put a homing beacon, you have a certain number, like 4 or 5 of these, almost like grenades. It's a secondary thing, and you can tag one of the enemies with this bullseye, and then you can step back anywhere. You can be behind cover, get behind a wall, a door, whatever, and shoot that gun in that direction, and it will follow that homing beacon and take them out, which is super helpful for clearing out a bunch of the Chimera. So Resistance Fall of Man is alternate World War II, like 1950s. Russia was taken over by this threat. You don't really know a whole lot about it, but it's these alien Chimera. And turns out they take over humans, like the humans get infected with these breeder-type insect things. And another element with this series is rechargeable health, almost like Halo with the shield. You go down a certain amount, and if you find health, or if it doesn't it's broken up into quarters. So if you don't wipe out all the way the quarter, after the second level, he's infected with this chimera thing, and it helps you regenerate health. So that health will bump back up, which is useful. This is back in the day of like having to look around for Medal of Honor had like the first aid kits on the ground, or Wolfenstein you'd look for a turkey to eat to get health. And there's still little health bits here and there, but this helps with that. It's like it adopted a middle ground between a Halo and a Medal of Honor or something like that, where you have a mix of those two things. But it's super competent. The storytelling's fun. I want to work my way through these. I was debating streaming. I was like, man, do I just run an HDMI cable over here and see if the HDCP cooperates with the PS3? And then I was like, I'm going to do that, and it's going to be a barrier, and I won't fucking play this game. Let me just knock out a couple levels and play the game. And I did that, and I wish I'd been streaming it, because in the second level, you get a tank, and you're trying to clear a way to a runway. And I actually didn't finish this one. I stopped because I knew I was at a checkpoint. But I rolled through this barrier, which it seems like you're meant to do. I don't think I broke the game for any specific reason. And my tank just fell through the bottom of the level. And I'm looking up, I'm looking at all the assets, I'm looking at the buildings from underneath and the gate that I was just at and everything. And I'm just falling away from it like so fast, and it's scaling and everything. And I fell for probably 15 seconds. I was like, holy shit. And then it acted like he died. But it was thinking inside the box is saying stream it. Yeah. I've got a HDMI splitter. I'm thinking about doing it.
Yeah, you
Resistance
have to.
games are fun. I'm only 2.5 levels in. I think that would be a good time. It's just like setting away the dedicated time and doing all that. But it would be a good stream, I think, because those games hold up, and the sound is great. Everything's super detailed. Like you kill one of the chimera and you look at them on the ground, and they've got fangs coming out and glowing yellow eyes. And I just think it would be fun to go through some of those. I'm trying to think if I messed around with anything else. I've got a new handheld. I've got a new Windows handheld that I've been tinkering with, but I've only been playing the Reddit thread that I was looking up recommendations on. The ROG Ally said, don't fuck around and end up playing Windows on it. Play some video games on it. And all I've done is play Windows on it. I've been updating Windows and drivers and installing launchers. It's dedicated Windows machine. I'm having fun. It's a great Windows box. But I'll start fucking around with that at some point, and hell, maybe try out the PS3 emulator on that and see what that thing's like. But just kind of a tinkering around session for me. But that's it. Those are my games played this past week.
For me, I haven't really played much. I think the only thing I've really played is a little bit more Silent Hill 2 outside of some Warzone and Fire. Helldivers.
We picked that up based off y'all's recommendation. I did play some Helldivers with y'all.
Mm.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I got in a couple rounds.
You did, yeah. I think we did the Helm's Deep episode
because I had never played that difficulty. When we beat it, it said you've unlocked whatever the next level up is. Because I hadn't played that difficulty before.
Wasn't too bad, right?
No, it was fun. I had a good time with it.
It's a lot better, I think, because me and Russell went through, I think, after later that day, and we played the highest one, which is Helldivers or whatever, level 10.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get the right crew in there, it's not that bad either. I had a pretty good time on that one. The only bad thing about that is you get stuck on fighting the waves and you lose yourself and finding the objectives because you get pulled in. Like, all right, I'm almost done killing these guys, and you look up and you're like, oh, you got 2 minutes left to complete the level. Because it's like you get lost in the whole thing. Like I'm just taking out people. It's fun.
You could have left the patrol or whatever it was alone that came walking over towards you.
I think that was the only catch-22 on that one, and the hardest, the Helldivers difficulty. But I mean, so far that's been pretty fun. Outside of maybe we played that round of Plunderer. Played a couple round of Warzone with Russell. We came in like 14th place.
Duos or how was the new format? Like what can you pick? Remember, before the last season ended, they had us siloed into just quads and solos.
So we did duos on Rebirth. Not Rebirth. Area 99.
I have yet to play that map.
So the new map, Area 99, you could do. It's the only map on Resurgence they could choose between solo, duos, trios, and quads. If you could do Rebirth Island, which was the one we had featured last year, that is only available as quads. So you have to fill in the rest of your team, or fill out and those are the only 2 maps going on right now. So,
Gotcha.
that was like I played around with that with Russell before he had to jump off and do some other things.
Friend of the show, Buish, said he likes that new map. You guys fans of it too?
It's a lot of fun. I played a couple rounds with Wish when it first came out. We were on there for a minute.
I gotcha.
I think we won that first round, and we lost everyone ever since. So
downhill from there. Yeah, I think you talked about that on that show.
Yeah. That was the last time. Because outside of that, I've been playing a lot of multiplayer, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. It's the first Call of Duty multiplayer that I've successfully gone back to. If I got time to sit there for an hour and just fuck around with, have a lot of fun with it. Got used to the mechanics on there. As outside of that, Silent Hill 2, I got out of the labyrinth. I know I talked about it last week. Completed that puzzle. I had to row across Toluca Lake, and I've reached my final destination, the final area in Silent Hill 2, which is Lakeview Hotel, where James has talked about many times, where he was over there with his wife, Mary, because that was one of her fond memories of Mary. He runs into Laura.
He's still looking for her, I'm assuming.
Correct. And Laura provides him a letter that she took from their nurse that was supposed to be distributed when Mary died. And he's reading the letter, and he's noticing that the times did not line up. So the letter noticed that, Mary wanted to adopt Laura, and that they were holding on this letter till after she had passed, which would be given to her after her 8th birthday or way after her 8th birthday, and she just turned 8. And so James is like, well, that doesn't make any sense because Mary supposedly died 3 years ago, so she might still be alive. And so he chases after Laura, who runs off, and now I'm basically fighting all these monsters in the hotel, trying to get to the hotel room 312. So, like,
the shooting still, he's not an action hero. Yeah. He's just an everyman.
So that's essentially where I'm at. I've only played a little bit on there, so I'm going through the hotel now. So I'm at basically it's the end game right here. Like I think the only other person that hasn't had like the closure of the story is Angela, so I'm going to run into her at some point. You get the indication that Laura doesn't see these monsters because it seems like Silent Hill only attacks people that have evil in their heart.
Oh.
So like she's an innocent child, so she's just running around an empty town. She doesn't see.
She thinks nothing is
there's nothing wrong. Yeah, she just looks like an empty town. She doesn't know what's going on. But that indication that because James sees something means that he's not a good person. So,
have you gotten any indication of that from earlier in the story?
No,
because he's just looking for somebody, right?
Right. That's the impression that you get, right? So, like everybody else so far, you run into Angela, who seems to have done something to her father, maybe have killed him or something like that. So she sees these monsters. You run into Eddie. At some point, you come ahead to Eddie, where he's not the innocent person he seems to be. There's something he goes into detail that he did that does not make him a good person, and he sees these monsters. Laura runs around; she doesn't see anything going on. So that whole indication that 2 out of the 3 people only see bad things because they've done bad things, but James sees the bad things also means that James has probably done bad things also. So, but I think that's something that's like a fourth wall thing. That's like something that the player notices as you play the game. So it's like, all right, yeah, okay, he's not
in your face storytelling.
He's not an angel. Yeah, he's not an angel. It's like stuff you read as you read the lore of the town and stuff like that. Because like that pyramid guy's like he's there to punish all those people that are there. So
swinging that fucking sword everywhere.
Yeah, he's chasing all of them. So he's there as like their executioner. So like that's why you go to the whole prison setting in there at that one point. So I don't know if I talked about this last time. I got into a point in Black Ops 6 where I was doing the story mode for a while and I stopped because I've gotten to the part where I mentioned that I went to Iraq. And it's like what me and you enjoyed in Gears of War 5, right? I think 5 is the one where it kind of opened up.
Yeah, they let you decide where to take out these different bases and stuff.
That's exactly what they did in Black Ops 6.
Really?
You have a little overworld map, and you can do whatever you want. And each area is like a different variety of stuff you can do. It's pretty fun.
I loved that in Gears.
Loved every minute of it. So when I played, I was like, man, Richard would fucking love this. That was great.
Is any of that co-op?
Got to the very end. I don't think so. I got to the very end of it, and I saved, and I was like, all right, I'm done for the day. Then they decided to patch the fucking game, and it broke my save, and it took me to the very beginning before I did all that shit and I have to do it all over again.
Oh no!
And I was like, I'm done with this game because that took me
Oh
2-3 hours of my
no!
time out. I said, I'm
Yeah,
done.
I can't do that shit.
So I stopped playing the single player after that. So that was it for me.
Like, I'll wait on this.
Yeah, I when it booted it up and it put me on there like, oh, here's a map. Go over here. I was like, no, I did all this. There's no fucking way. I went in there and go through my saves and everything, and I guess something happened with the update. It broke it or something like that. Because I've literally saved on different missions and gone back and forth through it and just started it up, and it took me where I left off. This one cleared it all the way to the beginning. I was like, I have no fucking idea. I was like, I'm done.
You're like, why don't you guys let me know when you're done with this game?
Yeah, that killed it for me. So outside of that, I don't think I've really played anything else. I could be wrong, but I'll pass it over here to Brent to finish up and save the day.
Rambo Key.
So let's see. I'll start
PlayStation
off
Portal
with,
review. Tell us about the Portal.
I'll start off with a few little things before I get to the Portal.
Oh God, Brand, I've waited this long. I've stayed on the show to hear the thoughts on the new PSP.
So
Brent's like, just keep waiting.
Things that recently came in. This actually just came in, the Capcom Fighting Collection.
I need to get this.
Yeah.
I need to get this one.
Gonna take you for a ride, baby. Arcade classics.
Great collection.
Haven't gotten to play that yet.
Did that come out on Xbox yet? Physically?
Next year.
Next year for Xbox?
Yeah, it's next year.
Yeah, that and the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 are both next year. That's the one I'm more excited about because I want fucking Project Justice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think, that's the only game I'm seeing that I had that came in over here. Other than that, I did get some accessories, such as the 30th anniversary.
This was also a splurge of mine.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine. It was $80. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
I am conflicted on whether I'm actually going to open and use this.
Yeah,
I
don't currently need mine, so it's gonna stay in the box for now.
I have 3 other controllers that are perfectly fine.
Oh,
this may just be a
for listeners,
display piece.
For listeners, Brand is holding up the new 30th anniversary edition DualSense wireless controller. Looks like a PS1 controller. I did read the box. It does not come with a USB-C charging cable.
No, it does not.
Nor does it come with that super cool adapter that they put in the...
You only got those.
Deal, man.
You only got. I was gonna open it if it had those the little adapters. What we're talking about is, of course, the little dongles that came on the original PlayStation controllers that looked something like this for our viewers.
A wide plug.
Looked like the original plugs for the player 1, player 2, and you were only able to get those and the cable ties if you bought a whole entire console.
Was that with both the Pro and the limited edition anniversary? Okay.
Yep.
At least they didn't shoehorn you into just the Pro for that.
And then other than that...
But I've seen on a note, I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago after they announced it, people are selling those on Etsy. They'll make a little cover for you. They'll make a PS2 looking one. They'll make the PS1 looking one. So other people are picking up the slack that Sony dropped.
What's that, Brian? Other than that, I did take this out of the box, and I need to.
Yeah, you did.
Post these pictures because the way that they packaged this, and this is the PlayStation Portal, 30th anniversary. All of the 30th anniversary stuff. By now, everybody knows that the back of the controllers has the PlayStation designs, the cross, the square, triangle, and circle, basically on the grips, and you have to like zoom in really close to see that.
We're doing the cross thing. We're keeping the cross as the lore.
Apparently, that's what it is. Apparently, that's what it is. We've been calling it X for all these years, but apparently, it is cross.
And box. Box is the button to the left of that.
Box.
No, box. Mash box.
Top of cylinder.
The Bandicoot will spin. Top of cylinder. Cone.
Yeah.
Hit cone. You'll never not think box now.
the all the 30th anniversary stuff actually has 30 worked in to those characters. If you actually zoom in on that, which is a cool little detail
They did that
they
with
did.
a bunch of the 20th anniversary stuff, didn't they? Around the PS4 time.
I'm trying to remember. I think so. I think I remember them doing some of that. But of course, like when I opened it up and I sent the picture of it, the little like faux screen protector thing, like little factory screen protector that they put on it. It looks like you're booting up an original PlayStation. It just had the original PlayStation logo on the screen there. Of course, it's got the original Sony logo with the multicolored.
God, that's such a good
throughout the logo, and of course the colored buttons.
I see box on there. Yeah, that's a great looking piece of hardware. That is beautiful. Which
leads into my games played. I know you guys had talked a little bit about the cloud streaming that they added to this. They added it literally the week that this showed up at the door. I don't have the premium service, and
I also made this discovery. I thought it was for everyone. It is only for premium members.
Nope. It is only premium members, and based on the price of the extra that I'm paying for, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, can I even justify the extra? Do I need to drop down to the essential tier here? Because
I just renewed
it's
at essential.
Pricey.
And I'm getting it so that I would get the sale price offers. So I paid my $80 flat, and now I'm getting the sale price offers to upgrade for the next year. So for like 380 days, I think it's like $65 for premium, and it's like 40 something for extra. But I'm kind of holding off. I'm trying to play the games I currently own. And I'm disappointed it does not stream to the portal natively. Maybe that's just a beta feature currently. But it does let you get to it. Did you see that? Like, it lets you get into that. You can launch into, like Cesar was talking about last week, there's no way to flip-flop between the two. You have to kind of launch into cloud, or you launch into the PS5 connection mode. But it lets you get there, and like ones that I know I have licenses for, it's like, can't play that. It's only part of the premium subscription. I was like, damn it, I have this game.
I think it does that natively on the PlayStation 5 also, right? You have to have the premium subscription to stream that, right?
Yeah.
To the console. Well, I think that's something that they do.
Well, this was like that we didn't put this in news, but they recently let you have like Resident Evil and Dino Crisis. So instead of paying separately for that, if you have a license for that, which I bought those games in 2007, 2008, those now carry forward and let you download. Tekken 2 was recently added. I feel like I've looked at that one before, and now you can download that. Yep. But specifically those two games, Resident Evil Director's Cut and Dino Crisis, are in that catalog streaming. And I got the same, you must be part of PlayStation Premium to stream these from the cloud.
Yeah, I think that's for anything. Yeah. I think the PlayStation Premium is needed for any cloud streaming.
That's the cutoff. It doesn't matter if you own those games. Don't let it tease you.
I don't want to steal the show from Brant, but I did do it on Blood Omen. And I've sat there for about 2 hours Saturday morning.
And it played well.
The cloud streaming on the portal, and it looks just like I was doing it from my PlayStation.
I think so.
No quality drop. It was super smooth. No issues. It just loaded right up. You just have an option to close game at the top right when you have to slide down the menu, and that's it. That was pretty much it. Some people have mentioned before at different times that there is it does get busy. I haven't seen that issue yet, and it won't let you launch a game for cloud streaming if it is. The servers are tied up, so
Reddit's claiming
I'll give it back
it increased quality on the regular streaming, just like what we were using it for the past year and a half. How long's that thing been out?
It looks really good.
About a year, I think. Yeah.
I'm very impressed. Sony's always done very well on the remote play.
Yeah,
because they've been doing it for so long, and that's my biggest gripe on the Xbox One. That I always, no matter if I felt remote play, just you see a little too much artifacting compared to the Sony one, in my opinion. I know they'll get there eventually, but I know Sony's really good on remote play. They've been doing that for years.
They bought Gaikai, probably 10 to 15 years ago now, it feels like. One of the early companies doing the streaming stuff. Brant, back to your Portal love and experience.
So I messed around a little with it. The first time I booted it up, I literally just did the setup and kind of looked at everything. Played a little bit around with it. Didn't necessarily boot anything up.
Mhm.
And I had to go do something, so I just had to turn it off, shut it down, and went ahead and plugged it in so it could charge.
Update.
Then I
The
took
updates
it.
are kind of slow on that thing for some reason. It's like, why are you taking
Yeah,
so long?
It did have an update.
Yeah.
Um, After that, um, I did take note of both earlier this week, like we talked about, the Capcom stuff actually became live to where you could actually just buy it a la carte. Or if you already had it, it was added to your library. So I downloaded both Dino Crisis and the original Resident Evil Director's Cut to the PlayStation, and I sat in the living room and just portaled in and played a little bit of the original Resident Evil, and it played fine. It played great. Um, I want to say it was last weekend though. I actually took it with me out of the house and booted up and played a little bit. I think I got about an hour into was that the Epic Mickey Rebrushed, and to what Richard was saying, the controls and the haptics and everything feel great with Rebrushed
Yes.
on the PS5.
Yes.
And honestly, the Portal remote play was pretty damn good. There was a couple times I had some hiccups, but honestly, it was fine. And then actually yesterday, I got a wild hair. I made sure I looked and saw what licenses I had digitally, and I've just had this urge to get back into Uncharted. And
the urge to play Uncharted, it's always in the back of my mind.
It's a really really it's hard for me to pick my favorite Uncharted. It's between 2 and 4.
I'm in the same boat, but I've only played 3 one time. I played it on PS3 when it came out and haven't touched it since.
I've played 3 a few times. Yeah. And I went back through those games and like replayed them not too long ago, except for 4. So when I started looking, and I'm like, oh, I've got the I think we got that through PlayStation Plus one time, was the Legacy of Thieves collection or whatever. And so that's the PS5 version with the haptics and everything for 4 and Lost Legacy right there. I'm like, okay. And it just so happened I accidentally forgot my my phone when leaving the house, but not the portal. So
priorities, Brent. As I told you earlier in the show.
So it was a lot easier to keep myself occupied. Just boot up the portal and I said, all right, here we go. I'll start Uncharted A Thief's End. And I've been I think I'm 5 hours into it now. Just sitting down and playing it through Thanksgiving, and then I came home, we did some other stuff, and then I sat down and played it again.
All Portal? You're playing all through Portal?
No, I played probably 2.5 hours Portal wise. There was one time where it started to get kind of choppy for some reason, and I don't know why. And I literally just paused the game, restarted the Portal, got back in it, and it was fine. So I don't know what the heck went weird with the connection, but it just kind of chugged for a second. And a quick restart was all it needed.
I noticed that if my PlayStation starts downloading something, it'll almost tank that connection. So it's like, all right, I won't mess with this right now.
Yeah, if it starts downloading in the background, it's done.
Yeah, it's hosed.
I don't know what the heck it does. But yeah, Lost. Damn, I forgot how good the storytelling and everything was. with this
game's
game,
amazing.
and it sucks you in right from the very beginning. The funny thing is, I don't really ever remember having any weird glitches. It's weird having these games and replaying them on the PS5. I've noticed some weird glitches while playing the other games, and I posted them, I think, to the Instagram before.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to I got one decent one today. Last night there was at one point where Nate and Sam are running around, and literally Sam's head was like an owl. He was running towards me, but he looked at an enemy and his whole head turned around.
Shit.
I was like, what the hell's going on there? And then it just like popped right back.
Did you get a clip of that one?
To me. No, I didn't get a clip of that
that's
one.
Crazy.
Today I got one where I stealth killed a couple guys, and then I snuck past the other ones, and I got to a gate which Nate and Sam had to like lift up at the same time, and then crawl under, and so they start lifting it up, and you see two pairs of legs and like the guys holding guns and everything. I'm like, oh no, like this is gonna be one of those things where you open up the gates and these guys just like kick you out, and then it starts a big fight. And literally they lift the gate up, and Sam goes under. He goes, all right, and come on, and then Nate goes under.
The legs are just sitting there,
and then they drop the gate, and we literally walk through the two character models of the mercenaries standing right there, and then they have like a little bit of dialogue, like, "Oh, I thought that was going to be dicey for a second," or whatever it was, and I turn around and they're gone. They're just not there anymore. But I took a clip of that. It just hasn't loaded on the back end here on the app.
I love those little,
as soon as it does, like
immersion breaking things like that. It's funny.
I was just laughing at that. So yeah, I think that's it. Like I said, I piddled around with a little bit of Resident Evil, the original, just with remote play on the Portal, some Epic Mickey on the Portal, and then
did you get
some Uncharted?
I missed the intro of that. Did you get the full thing, or did you download the demo? Mickey. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I've got Epic.
You got the full Epic Mickey rebrushed.
Got it right here.
Rebrushed. Yeah, we got to add that to our catalog.
Yeah, I put that. I put about an hour into this. But
probably the good solid intro, like where the demo takes you through.
It's a damn good game.
Did you play that on Wii?
No, but I've seen it on Wii.
Yeah.
And
that is a good game.
This game looks so good too. This remaster.
Yeah. Hoping they do the same thing with the second one, which was co-op on like PS3 and 360. I don't know. Did that one come to Wii? That was like a totally different style game. I don't think you had as much as the paintbrush stuff. I think that was a GameFly purchase for me many years ago when they first started doing the used game sales. Did GameFly have a Black Friday sale? I usually pick up some stuff from GameFly.
They've been very lax on it. They've only been like 10% off or something like that. It was something weird.
I splurged on their last one. That's when I picked up Rebirth and Spider-Man 2 and some of the PS5 heavy hitters I was missing. All right, that's it for you, Brant. Portal Greatness, Epic Mickey rebrushed, Uncharted 4, Drake's Fortune. Have you played the PS4 or PS5 version of that? Is this your first time going through the Uncharted 4?
Yeah. Yeah, I've where is it? It's somewhere down here. I played it originally when it came out, of course. Yeah. But this is the since it's the updated PS5 version of the game and it had the haptics and everything. I'm like, well, this will doing that and with those updates and trying the remote play with the Portal.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why not? Let's throw everything in it. Let's see how it does, and it does. It does pretty damn good.
4 or 2, I think I'd have to lean towards 4. I think the epilogue, I talked about it when I played it. I cried like a baby in the epilogue. Oh, down here with tears welling. I think it might be 4 for me, but I haven't played 2 in quite some time. All right, is that it from us? Thinking Inside the Box is another great show, gentlemen. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you joining us once
Thank you,
again.
sir.
Thank you.
Queue up some more Lost Odyssey. I want to see some more Lost Odyssey on the stream. You got me on the Saboteur. I didn't talk about it this show, but you turned me onto the Saboteur again, and I was playing that on Steam Deck a couple weeks ago. You guys got anything else you want to add before we get out of here? Ladies and gentlemen,
No, sir.
thank you for joining us this week. We will catch you next week. Bye.
See you.